In this video, we're going to go over the Lnfs Futsal ID camp led by Coach Chema Jimenez Alonso and discuss over how the warm-ups go, the Spanish methodology that goes behind it, and elaborate on everything that Coach Chema is teaching to the American youth futsal culture. Okay, so let's get started. The first day of the camp and watching the warm-ups. Coach Chema is taking the players through the warm-ups. And the Spanish methodology right off the bat, it's all about thinking, critical thinking. It promotes in having the players think for themselves. The coaches give them the tasks and the players have to think. So this first activity, players are running around, kind of warming up, and then Coach Chema calls numbers and the players have to quickly get into that group. So if he calls out a group of 5, players have to quickly get together and organize themselves in a group of 5. So it requires for players to quickly think, organize themselves, and the odd player out has to have a consequence. In this particular instance, it was a push-up. Then again, they're running around and he'll call a different number and the players now have to all come together. So in this particular instance, he called a group of 8. So all players of 8 get together again. Quick organization, quick thinking, quick reaction. The leftover players, there's a consequence. So once again, all the players are encouraged and pushed to always think. Coach Chema just gives out the instruction and lets the players figure out for themselves and organize themselves. It's the premise of the Spanish Lnfs Futsal Academy system, which runs from the youth levels all the way up to the senior teams. The next activity is a pretty interesting one. So basically, while the players are, jogging around and everything, he's going to call once again, numbers. And now the players are instructed to get on the floor and form that number. So if he calls a number 2, the players are encouraged to get on the floor quickly, organize themselves, and form the letter 2. So let's watch what happens. Players are jogging around, stretching, getting their blood flow going. So I think he called the number 3. So as you can see now, they're laying down. And he tells them to organize themselves to form the number. As you can see, one player in the group near to us, he's by himself. He didn't quite understand the instructions. But that's what the methodology is all about. Pushing the players to think for themselves. He discourages the assistant coaches from helping out. Up again, they're going to start moving, and he'll call another number. He called the number 0. So the players now have to quickly get on the floor, organize themselves, and form the number 0. They think, they work together, they organize themselves to form the number 0. Once again, thinking, always thinking. The Spanish methodology promotes not only skill development, but most of all, foremost, developing the ability of players to think on their own without coaches' help. Now they're forming the number 7. So once again, they get on the floor, and as you can see, they form the number 7. So again, these activities, no matter, look, I've had college teams that we do these activities. Number one, they're fun for the players, and foremost, always thinking. 8. Now he's calling the number 8. It's a more difficult number to form. a lot more difficult number to form. So now the players once again have to think, work together, organize, and form the number 8. This is where you see a lot of players step out of the comfort zone, take charge, and you separating sort of the leaders of the group. Pretty cool game. Coach Chema always brings the players in every time there's a new activity. He describes the activity. He gives instructions. And then the players are instructed to go out and perform those activities. Discourages the assistant coaches from actually helping the players. So now in this particular activity, just to go over it as you guys are watching it, and again, this series of videos, they're unedited for a specific reason. We want you guys to see how everything runs, as opposed to cut and paste and just highlight segments of the session. So as you guys can see, there is blue cones, there's red cones, there's orange cones on the floor. So what he's instructing them is that they have, when he calls them, they have to go behind the cone of a certain color. Every color represents a certain amount of players that they have to be behind. So one, another cone is 2, another cone is 3, and so on and so forth, right? And the players that get there's always one player with the penny that's walking around and trying to tag players that are not on the cone, and they become sort of the hunter, and they have to go find another player, tag them, and kind of steal their spot. So you can see he puts 4 players there. Last player gets tagged, moves away, gets the penny, and they go and tag another player, and so on and so forth. Once again, it's fun little activities for the kids that promote thinking, organization, and becoming leaders. In certain cases, we want to develop not only thinking players but leaders. We want leaders on the field. We want players to take charge. If possible, to have 11 leaders thinking as one. And you'll hear a lot of top coaches always say, move up and down the field as a unit. We need to develop 11 players on the soccer field, 5 players in a futsal court, where they are thinking, organizing themselves, and playing as a unit, as one. So in soccer, obviously, it's a little more difficult to have players in a fashion where they're moving up and down the field as one. So now, as you can see, they're moving around. He'll call up he'll blow the whistle, whatever. The players will organize themselves behind a certain color with the appropriate number, and then the player that has the penny tries to chase down the player. Group gets caught, and then now another player is taking his turn and trying to bump players off the cone.